So we will seek how Krishna's Janma is totally Janma karma basically is totally divyam. So here Jiva Goswami defines, let us define what karma is, courtesy of Hari Parshad Prabhu. Although I'll be understanding this whole thing through my own realizations of Srila Prabhupada's teaching, so it will be slightly different from what will be his explanation. So I beg forgiveness for that. So Jiva Goswami defines what is karma, and he defines karma as such: apurnasya nija purty artha chetasa karma. The acts that an unfulfilled person performs to fulfill himself is known as karma. The acts that an unfulfilled person performs to fulfill himself is known as karma. So let's try to understand this. Okay. So what is that unfulfillment? The unfulfillment is anandamayo bhyasat. We living entities are constantly, we require ananda. We are all seeking ananda. We have a potency to seek ananda. Anandamayo bhyasat. That ananda is the Ladini Shakti of Lord Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna has got his own pleasure potency known as Ladini Shakti. He is the possessor of that ananda. He is the basically Krishna, the all attractive one, and the Rama, the possessor of that ananda. Why we are attracted? Because of ananda, and ultimately when we attract him, we ultimately get ananda. So it's all about ananda, anandamayo bhyasat. So now you may say that in the material world, why does a person do karma? Why does he do any kind of activity? Why does a person in the material world do activity? Why does a person in the spiritual world do activity? Why does a person who is liberated in Brahman do activity? What kind of activity he is doing, whatever, to attain the Brahman. The Atma Ramas, why they do the activities. So let us take the experiences of a materialistic person. Why does a materialistic person do activity? Ultimately, because he wants to get Ananda. Now, what do you mean by false ego? False ego is nothing but the attempt to attract other people. The more you attract other people, the more there is potential for Ananda. The more people will give you satisfaction, or they will give you satisfaction of your senses. They will give you Ananda in the material world. If you have, say, 100,000 people attracted towards you by using your own opulences, you are attracting a lot of people. What is the purpose of attracting those people? To get Ananda. So ultimately it's all about Ananda. That's why Shastra, our Acharyas say that all this Pratishta is nothing but subtle sex desire basically. Because ultimately it's sex desire. Ultimately it's Ananda. So the more you get connecting with more people, the more Ananda you get. So that is one of the things that we need to understand basically. So that is every materialistic person is doing the entire purpose of his doing any kind of activity is to get Ananda. That though is very evident in the material world. Everybody is running after happiness or Ananda. Now why do some people known as Atma Ramas, they have nothing. They are always in, they do a karma. They don't do any work. They are not interested in any kind of material activities. They are absorbed in jnana most of the time, or in yoga, or in some kind of process. But what is the whole purpose of doing all that? So that they can get liberated in Brahman, get out of the material world, and attach themselves to Brahman, and again get Ananda, which is nothing but Brahmananda. So even these people are after Ananda. They don't want the Ananda from the materialistic world, neither do they want Ananda from, they have no idea of the spiritual world, or they want to neglect the spiritual world if they know about it. Some of them, like Mayavadis, don't want to go back to the spiritual world. So ultimately these people, even though they reject all material work, they don't want to do any kind of material work, they are totally self-satisfied. But even their whole goal of doing all of that, no work, and totally being self-satisfied also is to get liberated in Brahman and get Brahmananda. So they are also after Ananda. Then the liberated devotees who are in the spiritual world, these people are constantly connected to Krishna, and just like a hand is connected to a stomach, they get constant pleasure and Ladini Shakti flow from Krishna to themselves, and therefore they are also constantly experiencing Ananda. Liberated devotees also. So this, and the Atmaramas who are already in Brahman, who have attained Brahman, those people also, they are constantly attaining Ananda, of Brahmananda, of being merged into Brahman. So they are also getting a kind of spiritual Ananda. So they were after this, so that's why they renounced all material activities, all actions, all karmas, so that ultimately they can get Atma Ramas. What is Rama? Ananda. Rama means Ananda. Ultimately, the pleasure of the source of all pleasure is Rama. And they are getting that pleasure from Atma, their own self. But whatever, their own self means, because the self is a part of Krishna, ultimately they connect to Krishna, they merge into Krishna, whatever. But they are getting that pleasure, even those people. So that's why you can see Sukadeva Goswami, who was having this kind of pleasure, or 4 Kumaras who were having this kind of pleasure. When they got higher pleasure of Krishna consciousness, they left this pleasure. So ultimately they were also seeking pleasure only. So you can't say that they didn't need any pleasure. Whatever, the need for pleasure is undeniable. Every soul wants that pleasure. We cannot live without pleasure. That's why the Vedas define Anandamayo Dhyasat. We require pleasure. So what is the unfulfillment? The unfulfillment is that constant need for pleasure. It's constant. Now the Atmaramas, the moment they are disconnected from Brahman, they fall down and they do social activities. Why? Because in Brahman they could not get that Ananda, they are disconnected, and ultimately after some time they are trying to find Ananda in the material world. So these people do social activities sometimes after they fall down from Brahman. Materialistics are constantly search after Ananda. It is not that once you get Ananda, you are happy. Once you have Rasgulla, you never want to have Rasgulla again. No, they constantly require different forms of Ananda. So Ananda flow is a constant requirement. You can never say that once I get Ananda, I will be happy forever. It doesn't happen. So liberated souls are happy because they're constantly in connection with the Supreme Brahman or with Krishna. That's why their constant connection with Krishna is giving them Ananda. The moment the liberated devotee decides to disconnect himself from Krishna's service in the spiritual world, the Ananda is lost. Again, he is suffering and he starts searching material Ananda, Maya, basically. So the one thing we understand is everybody in this world, no matter what, every source of action is unfulfillment. And what is that unfulfillment? The unfulfillment is a search for Ananda. And the requirement for Ananda is not one-time requirement, it is a constant requirement. We have to constantly keep in touch with Krishna for getting the Ananda, or his body in the form of Brahman, or whatever you want to call it. So that is one of the things. Now let us go to this next sloka. I'll just translate it. I don't want to read it. So this is from the, as Prabhuji says, this is from Madhvacharya. Jiva Goswami is quoting this from one second. So Jiva Goswami is quoting this from Madhvacharya's Bramasutra commentaries, and Madhvacharya is quoting this sloka, and Jiva Goswami is quoting Madhvacharya, and Madhvacharya is quoting from Narayana Samhita. So here the sloka says, Lord Hari does not perform creation etc. of this world to achieve any unfulfilled desire. He performs all these acts purely out of joy, exactly as the dancing of an overjoyed person. He is Purnananda, complete and full of joy. So how can he have any purpose left to achieve? Even the liberated soul attains the fulfillment of all desires. So what to speak of the Lord, who is the soul of all souls? So here what we can understand very clearly and very nicely is that the Supreme Lord is the possessor of all Ananda. He is Rama, the possessor of all Ananda. He is Krishna, the attractive, all attractive one. And he possesses Radharani. And what is Radharani? The Ladini Shakti, the source of all Ananda. Everything, the source, the personification of Ananda is emanating from Krishna himself. So Krishna doesn't require any Ananda from any Jiva. Like for us, he doesn't require us at all, So he doesn't require us for his Ananda. So the question in the shloka is, why did he create this material world? And because his karma is like creation of the material world and all these different laws and regulations, and then he comes to the material world, he's running after the souls. What is all this? Since he is already fulfilled, since he's got all pleasure potency, he doesn't require any of the spirit souls' help for any of his pleasure potency. He's already got Radharani. He's already got his pleasure potency. So why is he doing this? So the very beautiful explanation given by this Madhvacharya's explanation in the Narayana Samhita is that just like a person is dancing, and why is he dancing? Dancing is not when a person is in ecstasy, the result of his ecstasy, the overflowing of his ecstasy results in dancing. Now, he doesn't require to dance because he needs ecstasy, or dancing is not producing ecstasy. Dancing is a result of ecstasy. Overjoyed, when a person becomes overjoyed with ananda, when filled with ananda, when he is happy, when he is completely blissful, the result of that bliss is that he starts to dance. Now, we know that Krishna is the source of everything. We are all part of Krishna, part and parcel of Krishna. And Krishna is full of ananda. He is full of ananda. He is full of love. What is love? Love is Radharani, basically. That is Ladini Shakti of Krishna. So he is full of love. Lord Krishna is full of love. Now, one of the characteristic of love is that a person who is full of love, a person who is the very personification of love, is that he loves everything. The example can be given, can be seen from a negative example. A person who is full of anger, when he sees anybody, he becomes angry. Like if I am very angry, like Lord Shiva is doing Tandav Nritya, when he gets angry at something and he starts performing Tandav Nritya, the whole universe gets destroyed. Because he is angry at everybody after that. His anger spreads everywhere. Whatever he looks will get destroyed. Whoever he looks will get destroyed. When he opens his third eye, whoever is there on his path will get destroyed. Why? Because his anger is all pervading. When the anger is overflowing from Lord Shiva, everything gets destroyed. In the similar way, when Krishna experiences the bliss of Radharani, he is filled and overjoyed with the love of Godhead. Not love of Godhead, sorry. He's filled with his own pleasure potency. And he's filled with love. And when the very nature of love is that whoever is present, the person who is filled with love, he will love that. Just like a person who is angry will get angry at everything. So when these spirit souls are part and parcel of Krishna, and because Krishna is overflowing with Radharani's love, the natural tendency of Krishna is he becomes complete. He starts loving us. He starts loving every single thing in creation, including us. He doesn't hate anything. He loves everything. So he starts loving us, and the result of love is he becomes mad in love with us. He becomes crazy in love with us, and he becomes completely crazy, and he becomes completely attached to us. That is the nature of love. He loves us so much. You can't imagine the amount of love that he loves. So why does he love? He doesn't require us. He doesn't require us for his happiness. He doesn't require us for anything. It is the nature of love that when a person is overflowing with love, he will love everything. It is not that he loves us to get some fulfillment, that he will, because he already has got Ladini Shakti. He's got the very personification of love. So we are loving Krishna because we require his pleasure. When he is happy, we become happy by connecting with Krishna. So our requirement is always there, either in the material world or spiritual world or Brahma Jyoti. It is our requirement that our love for Krishna is always like, because we want the pleasure from Krishna. But Krishna doesn't want any pleasure from us. He is overflowing with pleasure. And the nature of love, the nature of pleasure is such that whoever he sees, he starts loving that person. So that is why the very nature of love is that it spreads everywhere. And so Krishna, he loves everyone. So when he looks at us, when he looks at the living entities who are his part and parcels, automatically, because he is full of love, he starts loving us. And as a result, he becomes madly in love with us. Even a single spirit soul, he becomes completely crazy. He's so attracted to us, and he's so full of love with us. Of course, we are also got a small part of Srimati Radharani also, because we are also got that pleasure potency in us a little bit. And so Lord loves every part of Radharani. But ultimately, the whole point is that he doesn't require to love us, because he's got the whole Radharani. He has got the whole, the complete personification of love. So why he is loving everybody is because the nature of love is that it is like that. It just like the nature of anger is to destroy everything that comes in the vision. Similar nature of love is to love everything that comes on the way. So Lord Krishna's love for the spirit soul is as a result of the ecstasy, not that he requires ecstasy from the spirit soul. It's the result of ecstasy. So that is the thing that we need to be clear. So once that happens, now you may say that this material world is created as like his dancing. So you may say that the material world is dukkha. Krishna himself says there is so much misery in the material world. How can the result of ecstasy be dukkha or full of misery, this material world? How can that be miserable? How can that be full of misery when that is a result of ecstasy of Lord Krishna? He's out of his overflowing of the love for the spirit soul. How this material world is created then? Why dukkha? So the whole idea about this is that the nature of love is such that once you start getting love, it becomes a lila. So the point is that when the Lord starts loving you with extraordinary love, and then the soul betrays the Lord, so then this love gets transformed into anger. Now this may sound very controversial and everything, whatever, but ultimately this is one point in which we can understand the nature of the material world. So basically, he loves. Imagine a husband is loving the wife so much. Now let's take the example of love in the material world. Let's take the example, jilted lover. The Lord as the jilted lover. Okay, so imagine the material example. The husband loves the wife so much. He is completely crazy. He is head over heels over in love with her. Okay, so imagine the husband is so much in love with his wife, and wife suddenly betrays the husband and she goes with another lover. So now the husband will say that, I don't require you. I have totally happy. I have got so many other wives also, and not only that, I am totally self-satisfied. It is not that, I love you because I require something from you, or that, you fulfill me in some way. That's not like that. My love for you is because I am overflowing with love. But the point is that the nature of love is that he is madly in love with you. And now the nature of love is such that when a person is madly in love with you and you cheat and betray that person, that love for the person transforms into anger. So now the point is, imagine the wife, a husband is really loving the wife, and the wife cheats on the husband and she goes with another lover. So now if the husband comes and tells the wife, oh my dear wife, I am so happy that you should be happy. Ultimately my love is your love. I should be so I think you should be happy, and I don't care about, I have got so many things. I have got so many other wives also. So I'll make a arrangement for you so that you can really enjoy your life with that other lover, and then when you are satisfied, then you can come to me. Now, if the wife really loves the husband, she will say, what the hell? This husband never loved me at all. He's not even affected that I have left him. My God, did he really love me? Is that real love? If the wife really loves the husband, she will really get mad. She will think that, oh my God, although I have made a mistake and I have come to this, I have cheated him, but what the hell is happening? He really doesn't love me. So imagine, on the other hand, if the husband gets totally crazy and he's so much madly in love with that, his love transforms into anger, and he says that I'm so much crazily in love with you. How dare you leave me? How could you betray me? I'm going to make your life dukhalaya mashashvatam. I'm going to make your life dukha, and I'm constantly going to be there with you. I'm not going to leave you until you come back to me. You have to beg forgiveness from me, and you have to come back to me. I will make you come back to me. I love you so much. How can you do that? How can you cheat on me? How can you betray me? So if that is there, the wife will really, when she realizes a mistake and when she comes back to the husband, then she'll tell all her friends, oh my God, my husband loved me so much. He loved me so much that he couldn't stay 1 second without me. He was so angry. He was beating me. He was kicking me. And he was trying to take me back, and he made my life miserable. But ultimately, he loved me so much. You see, that is the expression of love. That is true love. The wife will be so happy. So like that, a soul will be so happy when he goes back to the spiritual world to realize that his Lord Krishna was so much in love with him that he couldn't bear separation. He was feeling like jilted lover. Just imagine the Supreme Personality Godhead feeling like that for a single soul, for individual soul. The soul will be so happy that my Lord cannot stay without me. He's acting, he made the world dukhalaya mashashvatam because he was so angry that I betrayed him. That is my power of my love. So actually the soul feels like that. But right now it doesn't know, under the influence of Maya, that all these things is happening. So he thinks that, oh, this suffering is there. Why my husband is giving me suffering? Oh, that my husband is not merciful. Either he's all merciful or he's all powerful, but he's not both. And a lot of logic he puts. But he doesn't understand the realm of rasa. In the realm of rasa, the anger is the greatest manifestation of love. We have to understand this. Now we will go how the anger is the greatest manifestation of love. Let us see from the spiritual perspective how this is possible and how this is proved that anger is the only and the real manifestation of love. Let us go to Golok Vrindavan. Now in Golok Vrindavan, there are cowherd men and cowherd women, and these people, they keep this butter of Lord Krishna, and what they do is they hide the butter of Lord Krishna. Now Krishna loves their butter so much that he is really mad after the butter, because the butter is the love that they feel for Krishna. So somehow or the other they are acting in such a way that they don't want to give the butter to Krishna. Okay, somehow they have doing that. So they are just keeping that butter high in their house, and they're not allowed. In one case, these people, they keep the butter so high up in the air that Krishna will never be able to reach it. So when Krishna comes to their house, eagerly searching for their love in the form of butter, he becomes dejected. He becomes like, oh no, these people have done this, I will take revenge. So he gets so angry, then he breaks the pot of butter. Not only does that, he pinches the babies, and then he actually passes urine in their house. So this, I mean, imagine passing urine in their house, destroying their house literally, kind of, and then destroying the babies, I mean, making the babies cry. It's like really negative things. And then he runs away. And then these people get very angry. They're running after Krishna. Catch the thief, catch the thief. They're really angry. But after Krishna leaves, they are so happy. They're so happy. Look at my butter. Krishna loves my butter so much that he got angry that he couldn't get my butter. My butter is so important for Krishna that when I couldn't give that butter, when I cheated Krishna and I left Krishna and I didn't give him that butter, Krishna got so mad, so angry, and he was naturally mad. It's not that he was acting. He was really mad. He was really angry. Krishna was really angry. That is true love. So because of that love, Krishna was so angry that he broke the butter. He destroyed my house. He pissed in my house. He passed urine in my house, and he pinched my babies. He made my life miserable, and he's so happy. The devotees are so happy that Krishna, the expression of Krishna's anger was the greatest expression of love. So that is what the devotees felt. And the next thing is the situation of Pundrik Vidyanidhi in Chaitanya Lila. In Pundrik Vidyanidhi, he passes some comment on Jagannath. He says that these people, they don't know, they are offering starched clothes to Jagannath. How can they do that? And Jagannath gets so hurt with Pundrik Vidyanidhi's statement. He says that you are such a close devotee, and how could you say that? I could have, many people say, I don't care, but how could you say that? So Jagannath comes in the dream and starts beating Pundrik Vidyanidhi. He really starts beating Pundrik Vidyanidhi, black and blue. Of course, it's in a dream, so you can't say it's reality. He starts beating them. But then Pundrik Vidyanidhi is crying, oh my Lord, oh Jagannath, please don't beat me, please don't, please have mercy. So in the dream, actually when he's beating, he doesn't want to get beaten, Pundrik Vidyanidhi. He doesn't want to get beaten. He's like crying, please show me mercy, as if his Lord is not merciful. Please show me mercy, please show me mercy. So then they also have ring in their finger, so they really beat him hard. When he gets up, however, that suffering is real. It's not totally false also, because, in the morning, his face is all, swollen, red by the beating in the dream. So the thing was not false, totally false. The suffering was not false, although it was in the dream. So when in the morning, when he meets all the devotees, he's blissful. He's totally blissful. The devotees asking, why are you so blissful? Krishna beat me. So why are you so blissful that Krishna beat you? Because he loves me so much. If somebody else had passed that comment, Krishna wouldn't have minded. But because I am so dear to him, he couldn't tolerate it. He couldn't tolerate because I am so dear to him. When I did an offense to him, I tried to belittle his devotees. He was so offended. He was like frustrated, and he was so angry because he loves me. Because of his love for me, he personally beat me. That is his mercy. So now the spirit soul is something like this. When he's getting beaten in the material world, dukkhalaya mashashvatam, he's crying, why are you beating? Are you not merciful? Why are you beating? And it's a dream. Material world is a dream. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, it's all dream. There's actually, the soul cannot be killed, the soul cannot be done anything. So ultimately it's all like kind of, it's like Tom and Jerry. You are Tom and I am Jerry. So basically Tom gets beaten very much by Jerry, but everybody's laughing. Nobody thinks that Tom is like getting tortured in the material world. So Krishna says this is all his dream. So ultimately it's like a dream. Even children are laughing when Tom is getting burned by Jerry. Jerry burns Tom sometimes. He pokes needles in Tom. But he just wants Tom to be his friend. That's all. So, but nobody says, Jerry is such a torturous person. He's torturing Tom because Tom is invulnerable. He's like the soul, spirit soul. Tom cannot be killed. He cannot be destroyed. He again regains his form back. The cat, Tom and Jerry. So in the same way, although this world is a dream, just like Pundrik Vidyanidhi's dream, there is reality. We do suffer. Yes, we do suffer because although in the dream we do suffer, but ultimately we have to understand that when we finish this dream and go back, we'll be so proud, we'll be so happy that Krishna was so much loving us that out of anger he was beating us basically. So basically, although the suffering is an illusion in this material world, still ultimately we do suffer, we don't understand that. So the point is that Pundrik Vidyanidhi is so happy that Krishna was beating him. He's so happy, he was ecstatic because the expression of love is anger. Anger is an expression of love. Without anger, there's no expression of love. Next example, when Sanatana Goswami he gets a certain kind of disease, and then he asks Jagannathan Pandit, Lord Chaitanya is embracing me all the time, and I don't want him to embrace me. I don't want him to, because I'm so unclean and stuff like that. So I don't want him to embrace me. So what to do? So Jagannathan Pandit suggests that please you go to Vrindavan. Maybe that way, that's the best thing to do. So in this case, Sanatana Goswami goes and tells Lord Chaitanya that I want to go to Vrindavan, and then he tells that Jagannathan Pandit actually told me that I should leave for Vrindavan because I'm all the time embracing you also. So Lord Chaitanya gets so angry at Jagannathan Pandit. That Jagga, that fellow, what the hell? Why is he doing like this? What do you think he is doing? Who does he think he is? So Sanatana Goswami immediately gets envious, not envious, like transcendentally envious. So Sanatana Goswami starts saying that, oh my God, my Lord, you really don't love me. You really don't love me. Why? Because you don't get angry with me. Or you get angry with Jagannathan Pandit because you are close to him. So you are not expressing anger towards me. That means you don't love me. You don't really love me. So Sanatana Goswami is thinking that Lord is not loving me because he is not showing that anger towards me. And he's depressed, actually depressed. So Lord Chaitanya tries to actually give all examples. No, it's not like that. It's not like this. It's not that I love you. It's not. So Sanatana Goswami is still not consoled. He's like, you really don't love me, because if you had really loved me, then you would have got angry with me. Why only you are getting angry with your close people like Jagannathan Pandit, but not with me? So here also Sanatana Goswami is very clearly saying that anger is an expression of love. You cannot say that without anger, the person really doesn't love you. Then you can see the next situation in which Advaitacharya. Now Advaitacharya always, Lord Chaitanya used to respect him all the time. And Advaitacharya had a problem, Lord Chaitanya is never chastising me. He doesn't love me. That problem was there. That complex was there in him. But inferiority complex, they say like that. This is not inferiority complex, this is love complex. My Lord doesn't love me. My Lord doesn't love me. So he planned one day that, I am going to go and I am going to preach Mayavad philosophy. Can you imagine Advaitacharya preaching Mayavad philosophy? Wow. Maybe the Lord Shiva within him probably was trying to do that. I was just joking. Probably. So Advaitacharya starts preaching Mayavad philosophy. And Lord Chaitanya sees that and he really beats Advaitacharya. And Advaitacharya is so happy that, oh my God, yes, that is what I wanted. That is what I wanted. Why the hell? Lord Chaitanya asked him, what happened? He says, this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted you to beat me. I wanted you to chastise me, because that is an expression of love. You never chastise me. You always respect me. That means you really didn't think that, you really didn't love me. You didn't miss me. So here Advaitacharya also is feeling, this is a constant feeling of all the liberated residents of spiritual world. Not only the residents of spiritual world, this is Mahavishnu and Lord Shiva's feeling also. Till now we are covering Jiva Tattvas, pure living entities. We are covering these different Tattvas. But right now we are covering Nitya Siddhas. But now we are going to cover the mood of Lord Shiva, who is Shiva Tattva, Sadashiva, and Vishnu himself. This is the mood of Vishnu and Shiva. They want to be chastised. They want to be kicked and beaten by Lord Krishna, because that is an expression of love. So they say that the Lord is the attachment. He's so attached that he can't tolerate that they have done something against the pure devotional principles. So that is an expression of love. Anger is an expression of love. Now, till now we have covered spirit pure. In the material world, we have taken the example of a wife and a husband. We have taken the spiritual examples of spiritual residents, Nitya Siddhas. We have taken Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's examples of pure devotees. We have taken examples of Shiva Tattva and Vishnu Tattva, how they are feeling that anger is also an expression of love. And now we will take the expansion of whether Krishna really gets angry when somebody leaves him and leaves his service. You may say Krishna is he's so powerful that, Krishna is so Atmaram that he will never get angry. So here Damodar Leela, when Yashoda Maya actually leaves Krishna, she's serving Krishna. Krishna is so attached to Yashoda Maya's milk. He's so attached to his mama. He's so attached to Yashoda Maya that he can't, he doesn't want to drink anything. He doesn't want anybody's service. So at that point, to save the milk devotee, Yashoda Maya keeps Krishna aside and she goes to save the milk devotee who was feeling, all depressed and everything. He was he was about to commit suicide or something by jumping into the fire. So Yashoda Maya runs after the devotee to save the devotee. That's the mood of the spiritual world, that they even leave Krishna. That's the mood of Prabhupada. He left the spiritual world and came to the material world to save the devotees. So in that mood, Yashoda Maya is also going to save the devotees, and then Krishna becomes so angry. So this shows, and his anger is not fake. He is really angry. So Krishna, when his devotee leaves him, or when a devotee leaves his service, Krishna is so much in love with the devotee, he's so attached to the devotee's service that he gets angry. This is the proof of Krishna getting angry. He gets so angry, he starts biting his lips, his red lips, he starts biting with his white teeth, signifying the mode of goodness should control the mode of passion. So he gets so angry, and then he breaks the pot, he creates havoc, he destroys the pot with so much difficulty. Mother Yashoda had done that pot, and he destroys that pot, he runs after, and then of course there is Damodar. The ultimate point is Lord Krishna does get angry when somebody leaves his service. When somebody leaves his service and goes away, because Lord Krishna loves Mother Yashoda. Similar way, Lord Krishna loves us also as much as he loves Mother Yashoda. Prabhupada says Krishna loves a calf as much as he loves Radharani. This is the inconceivableness. Lord Jagannath, he's pulled by Radharani, but Lord Jagannath's rath can be stopped by one Jivatma. Sometimes a devotee is coming and Lord stops his ratha. How a ratha which is pulled by Radharani, which is the very pleasure potency of the Lord, and the Lord can stop a ratha for a jiva, which is just a minute part of Radharani. That is inconceivable. But ultimately the Lord loves the jivatma with such intensity that, just like, you can see in Yashoda Maiya's case, when Yashoda stopped the service of Lord Krishna, he got so angry, so disturbed. And this is the similar kind of situation, the similar kind of leela, because ultimately for the Lord everything is a leela. You can't say the material world is not a leela for the Lord. For him everything is a leela. For us it is a suffering. But for the Lord, it's a leela, and he is so attached to us. That's why he comes as Paramatma. He doesn't leave us. Even for a second, the heart-to-heart connection is never broken, either in the spiritual world or the material world. He's always in our heart. He's always, and we are always in his heart. So that is the love of Lord, and he will never leave us, and he will create all sorts of funny, just like a Tom and Jerry case. The Jerry will always create all the nonsense problems for Tom. He will in fact hurt Tom so many times, but actually Tom can never be hurt because Tom is invulnerable. In the same way, the soul can never be burnt and never be put into pain. So ultimately, Lord knows that the soul can never be put into pain. But ultimately, there is suffering, illusory suffering in the material world. So Lord, he never leaves the soul. He's always after the soul. And that is illusory suffering is an expression of his love for the soul. Now we will come to the final case where what will the Lord do? Will the Lord be happy if he betrays somebody? Okay, and he betrays somebody, then what will he expect that other person to do? Now we have betrayed Lord Krishna, so he's supposed to be angry at us, and that is an expression of love. Now if Krishna betrays somebody, okay, if Krishna betrays somebody, then what will Krishna expect as a punishment? Do unto others what you would expect others to do unto you, right? So what is Krishna's version? So now we'll come to Radha Krishna. So there are situations in which Krishna sometimes betrays Radharani, okay? And Krishna betrays Radharani and he goes with Chandravali. So Radharani gets so angry with Krishna. She gets so angry with Krishna. She comes into a man. She goes to Mangad and she is so angry with Krishna. She's saying, how dare you betray me? I'm going to like you little black charcoal or whatever. She'll call some cute name for Krishna, and she'll just she'll really get so angry with Krishna, and she'll leave Krishna. She'll do so many things to make Krishna, and she will chastise Krishna. And finally Krishna has to go and beg, and he has to massage her feet, and he has to do so many things finally to appease Radharani. And he loves it. It's not that Krishna doesn't love it. He loves that Radharani should get angry at him. Why? Because that Radharani getting angry at Krishna is an expression of Radharani's love for Krishna. When Krishna betrays Radharani, if Radharani doesn't get angry at Krishna, that means there is no love. There is love, but that love is much less. Like Rukmani, like Chandravali. The love is like, I am Krishna's, but Radharani's love is Krishna is mine. That's possessive love. That is higher form of love. And Rukmani's love is like, I am Krishna's. So even Krishna, you may leave me, you may do anything, but whatever you do, my Lord, that is fine. But Radharani's love is, you are possessive. You can't leave me. How can you leave me? I'll die, but of course, Radharani knows that Krishna is happy by this. So Radharani in the Shikshastakam prayers, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is praying that Radharani is moved. Radharani is telling that if a gopi sometimes chastises Krishna because Krishna betrays the gopi and he does something, so gopi chastises Krishna very heavily. She's very angry. She gets angry. She really does. Sometimes they tie Krishna up also, the gopis, because of doing all this nonsense. So Krishna gets so the gopis get so angry, they punish Krishna. But Krishna is so happy because even though the gopis chastising Krishna for his betrayal, Krishna is always happy with the gopi. But if somebody were to chastise Krishna, even though Krishna is hurt and still they want to chastise him, then Radharani says, I want a thunderbolt to hit that gopi's head. Because if Krishna is really hurt, but still the gopi is chastising him. But actually Krishna is not hurt. Krishna is really happy and she's doing so many she really does put Krishna into a lot of trouble. But even after Radharani puts a lot of trouble, she knows that Krishna is happy. Otherwise Radharani says, I'm ready to become a maid servant in the house of a lady who is beloved to Krishna. So Radharani never will, the potency will never go against Krishna. That is Mayavad. The potency cannot overcome Krishna against his will. So potency can never put Krishna into misery. But Radharani knows whatever she is doing to Krishna, it is pleasing Krishna. That means Krishna also is pleased when Radharani is chastising him and hurting him and doing so many things. He is pleased because he knows that when I betray her, and she loves me so much that when I betray her, she is so possessed about me that she gets mad, she gets angry, she gets crazy, and she wants to chastise me, and she doesn't want to get appeased, then I have to appease her. So that's why in the material world you can see where we are like Jagai Madais, and Krishna is like Krishna, Lord Chaitanya. Like we don't want Krishna and Krishna doesn't want us. But spiritual master like Prabhupada comes in between. First she convinces us, you have betrayed Krishna. Go beg forgiveness. And then we chastise the spiritual master like Madai goes and hits Lord Nityananda. So even then Lord Prabhupada tolerates it, and he says, no, you hit me, no problem. Somehow or other, you still surrender to Krishna. So finally, because of the preacher, because of the devotees of the Lord, we somehow, our heart is melted, and then we want to surrender to Krishna. And then Krishna doesn't want us. He's like, why this guy betrayed me? I'm going to test him. He has to chant, he has to beg, he has to do. So although Krishna is more anxious to get us to the spiritual world than we are anxious actually. He loves us so much, he doesn't want, but he's angry also. Just like Radharani wants Krishna, she's so anxious to get Krishna, but she's angry also. So she will display man. Similarly, Krishna displays man with us. That's an expression of anger. So then we have to do sadhana, we have to do chanting, so we can't be sahajyas. Oh, Krishna, now I come back, now we are friends. You can't be like that. You have to first beg forgiveness from Krishna. So then when Guru says, now go beg forgiveness, then Jagai Madai, go fall at the feet of Lord Chaitanya. And then Lord Chaitanya is not ready. Then again Guru says to Lord Chaitanya, please now forget it. After a long time, they have done so many things, so many problems, now forget it. They are also asking forgiveness. Then Lord Chaitanya immediately, he's very eager to take them. So he is immediately forgiving them, and then he takes them back. So that's the relationship. Husband wife fight, and Guru is like the mediator. So this is the whole idea of how in the material world the Lord doesn't require us. It is an expression of his overwhelming love that he loves us. He doesn't require our love, Lord. And this material world, the creation is like a dance for the Lord, because this is the expression of his love. This whole dukkhalayam, whatever is there, it's because he loves us so much. It's a rasa, it's a leela of the Lord, that he loves us so much that he can't tolerate a moment separation from the spirit soul. He is crying from separation from the spirit soul, and therefore he's so eager to take us back, and he's angry also with us. And the anger is a manifestation of love. So this whole world, the anger, the dukkhalayam, everything is an expression of the dance of the Lord, is an expression of the Lord's Ladini Shakti, which manifests sometimes as anger, sometimes it manifests as Mahabhav, sometimes it manifests as miseries of the material world, and it's all perversions of that. But it's not the pure, but in the sense, material world is not pure Ladini Shakti, but it's like Mahamaya. So through Mahamaya we get all chastised. But the whole point again is that, it's an expression of the dance of the Lord. It's an expression of this overwhelming love. The material world is the creation, SRISTI. So this shloka is so beautiful, and it explains us everything that we need to know. Hari Bol.